The leather burned against Maya Thompson's throat as 5 masked figures circled her in the abandoned wing of Oakwood Prep. Her knees scraped against cold concrete, hands trembling not from fear, but from the rage building inside her chest, like a furnace about to explode. The dog collar, thick brown leather with metal spikes cut into her skin with each labored breath. "That's a good girl." Ethan Crawford's voice dripped with poisonous honey through his Halloween mask. "See how much better you look on your knees, where your kind belongs." Maya's fingers found the buckle, her father's voice echoing in her mind from that hospital bed 3 years ago. "Baby girl, sometimes you gotta show teeth before they mistake kindness for weakness." She'd been kind for 2 months. She'd been patient for 2 months. She'd been their entertainment for 2 long months. The belt came off in one fluid motion. Before I tell you how Maya Thompson turned the tables on her tormentors, I need you to know something. These stories, the ones about kids finding their courage, about cycles being broken, about collars being shattered, they matter. If this story moves you, if it makes you think of someone who needs to hear it, please hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from, because these stories travel far when we pass them along. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me tell you how Maya Thompson, valedictorian candidate, chemistry prodigy, and daughter of the bravest woman in Chicago, ended up choking Oakwood Prep's golden boy with his own designer belt, while his crew filmed their own downfall. 2 months earlier, Maya had walked into advanced placement chemistry with her head high and her guard higher. 25 faces turned toward her like sunflowers tracking an eclipse. She was the eclipse, the dark spot in their pristine, pearl-white universe of privilege and pedigree. "Look what the scholarship program dragged in," Ethan Crawford whispered to his lieutenant, Marcus Chen, loud enough for the front row to hear. Marcus snickered, his father's law firm logo emblazoned on his messenger bag like a warning label untouchable. Maya chose the middle seat, 3rd row, not too eager in front, not hiding in back. Strategic, calculated. She'd been the only black face in classrooms before. She knew the script: excel quietly, endure silently, graduate quickly. 2 years, 730 days. She could survive anything for 730 days. Mr. Johnson, a thin man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, began writing equations on the board. His hands shook slightly, whether from age or awareness of the tension in his classroom. Maya couldn't tell. "We'll start with a review quiz," he announced, passing out papers, "just to see where everyone stands." Maya finished in 12 minutes. The questions were almost insultingly easy: basic molecular structures, simple balancing equations. She'd been doing this level of work since freshman year at her old school. Before the shooting, before her father's badge couldn't protect him from a stray bullet meant for someone else, before her mother's nursing salary meant choosing between rent and Maya's education. She flipped her paper over and waited. Ethan was still on question 3. She noticed. His pencil moved in angry little stabs at the paper. Marcus kept glancing at Tyler Morrison's paper 2 seats over. The choreography of cheating was as obvious as a neon sign. 20 minutes later, Mr. Johnson collected the papers with the enthusiasm of a man walking to his execution. He graded them at his desk while the class pretended to read Chapter 1. Maya actually read it. She'd already finished the entire textbook online, but appearing too far ahead was dangerous. Another lesson learned: excellence was acceptable. Superiority was not. "Interesting results," Mr. Johnson's voice cracked. Highest score? Maya Thompson, 98%. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. Maya kept her eyes on her textbook, but she could feel Ethan's stare boring into the back of her skull. She'd made a mistake. She should have missed a few questions, should have played dumb, should have— What did Golden Boy get? Someone whispered. 71%. Another voice replied, Daddy's not going to be happy. The bell rang, and Maya packed up quickly. Not running, never running, but moving with purpose. She made it halfway to her next class before a hand slammed into the locker beside her head. Think you smart? Huh? Ethan's breath smelled like expensive coffee and entitlement. Up close, she could see why half the girls at Oakwood fell over themselves for him. Square jaw, green eyes, the kind of symmetrical features that belonged on magazine covers. But Maya had seen enough pretty monsters to know that beauty and evil weren't mutually exclusive. I need to get to class, Maya said, voice steady. Another rule: never show fear. They could smell it like sharks sensing blood in water. I'm talking to you. His hand moved closer to her face. Not touching, he was too smart for that, but invading, violating the space between them. And I'm walking away. Maya ducked under his arm, but Marcus appeared on her other side, boxing her in. Ethan's trying to be friendly, Marcus said, his smile all teeth and no warmth. Where we come from, people appreciate friendliness. Where I come from, Maya met his eyes. People who corner girls in hallways get their dental work rearranged. For a moment, genuine surprise flickered across both their faces. They weren't used to pushback. The scholarship kids usually came pre-broken, grateful for the opportunity, willing to endure anything for their golden ticket. Maya wasn't broken. She was forged. There was a difference. Freshman year, Ethan recovered, leaning closer. There was this kid, Samuel something, Asian kid, like you. Marcus. Thought he was hot stuff, too. You know what happened to him? Maya did know. She'd done her research before accepting the scholarship. Samuel Park had filed a complaint about hazing, then mysteriously withdrew from school mid-year. His parents' lawsuit had been settled out of court. Sealed records. Silenced voices. He learned his place, Marcus finished. Everyone does. Eventually. The warning bell rang. Students rushed past them, carefully not seeing, definitely not stopping. Maya recognized the practiced blindness. It was easier to look away than to look after. I have class, Maya repeated. So do we all. Ethan stepped back with mock courtesy. See you around. Scholarship. They left her there, heart hammering but face calm. Maya waited until they turned the corner before allowing herself one shaky breath. Then she straightened her spine and walked to AP History like she owned the hallway. Two could play at this game. They just didn't know she'd been playing it longer. The next 3 weeks established the pattern. Small violations, steady escalations. Her textbooks mysteriously moved from her locker to the dumpster behind the cafeteria. Ink spilled across her desk in pre-calculus, forming letters that made her stomach turn. Anonymous notes in her backpack with messages that would make their mothers weep. Always careful. Always deniable. Always when no witnesses would admit to seeing. Maya documented everything. Photos of the vandalism, screenshots of the texts from unknown numbers, careful notes with dates and times. She'd learned from her father's cases evidence was everything, but evidence without power was just paper. She tried the proper channels first. Grace Chen, the guidance counselor, sat behind her desk, looking genuinely pained as Maya laid out the harassment. Without concrete proof of who's responsible, Grace said, her fingers worrying the edge of a file marked with previous students' names. There's not much I can do officially. I have photos. I have texts. From unknown numbers, with no witnesses willing to corroborate. Grace leaned forward, lowering her voice. Maya, I know how hard this is, but these families, the Crawfords donate millions. The Morrisons practically built the new science wing. Going after their children without irrefutable proof would be career suicide. Maya finished. Grace flinched, but didn't deny it. I can request a schedule change, move you to different classes. So I should run, give them what they want. And sometimes strategic retreat is the smartest option. Maya thought of her father, standing his ground that night in Chicago. Strategic retreat hadn't been an option when those bullets started flying. He'd covered 3 kids with his body. His off-duty service weapon never leaving its holster because protecting was more important than punishing. No, Maya said. I'm not retreating. Grace's face cycled through expressions: admiration, fear, resignation. Then please, be careful. These boys, they've never faced real consequences. That makes them dangerous. More dangerous than a girl who'd held her father's hand while he bled out on 63rd Street. More dangerous than someone who'd already survived the worst thing that could happen. Maya almost laughed. The lunch situation was its own special form of torture. Oakwood Prep's cafeteria looked like something from a movie. Circular tables with actual tablecloths. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking manicured gardens. Food that belonged in restaurants rather than school cafeterias. Maya could afford exactly none of it on her meal plan, which covered the basic option, usually a sandwich, apple, and milk. She found a spot in the corner, back to the wall, exits in view. Another habit from her father: always know your way out. She was halfway through her turkey sandwich when a shadow fell across her table. Is this seat taken? Samuel Park stood there, lunch tray in hand, looking like he'd aged 5 years since his freshman photo. The one she'd found in last year's yearbook, before his mysterious disappearance. Maya gestured to the empty chair. He sat carefully, like his body remembered pain it preferred to forget. You're Maya, he said, not a question. You're supposed to be gone. Transferred, not gone. He unwrapped his sandwich with mechanical precision. Private school in the city. Smaller, quieter, safer. But you're here now. College interview. Had to stop by the admissions office for transcripts. His laugh was bitter. Couldn't help myself. Had to see if anything changed. Maya studied him, the way he kept his sleeves rolled down despite the warm October day. The slight hunch to his shoulders, like he was constantly bracing for impact. The scar on his lower lip that hadn't been in his freshman photo. Did it change? Samuel's eyes tracked across the cafeteria, landing on Ethan's table where he held court like a medieval king. They get smarter, subtler, better at not leaving marks. What did they do to you? For a long moment. Samuel said nothing. Then he rolled up his left sleeve, revealing a pattern of scars that looked deliberate, calculated, artistic in their cruelty. Started small, he said quietly. Bumps in the hallway. Books knocked down, classic stuff. Then Ethan decided I was getting too comfortable, too confident. See? I made the mistake of dating a girl he wanted. White girl, pretty, said yes to me instead of him. Maya's stomach turned, but she kept listening. Halloween party, freshman year. They said it was tradition, new kids had to pass initiation. Drinking games, stupid dares. I thought if I played along, they'd leave me alone. He rolled his sleeve back down. They waited until I was drunk. Held me down. Ethan had this collection. Said every dog needed marking. Jesus. That's not even the worst part. Samuel's voice dropped. Tyler filmed it. Said if I told anyone, the video would accidentally get sent to every college admissions office in the country. My parents' employers. Everyone. Maya's hands clenched under the table. But you told anyway. After they did it again, and again, and when I finally broke. When my parents saw the marks and went nuclear suddenly, the video was edited. Made it look consensual. Like I asked for it. Like it was some weird fetish thing. His laugh was broken glass. Crawford's daddy has the best lawyers money can buy. We didn't stand a chance. Why are you telling me this? Samuel reached into his bag, pulled out a small USB drive. Because I've been watching the patterns for 2 years. Keeping track. You're not the first scholarship kid they've targeted. Just the first black one. And Ethan, he's escalating, getting bolder, more creative. He slid the drive across the table. Everything I collected before they broke me. Use it or don't. But know what you're really up against. What about the video? Couldn't they? Already ruined me. Samuel stood. What's left to threaten besides? Tyler's not as tech-savvy as he thinks. Cloud storage is forever, even when you think you've deleted it. He started to leave, then turned back. One more thing. Ethan's father, he's worse. Whatever Ethan does to others, multiply it by 10. That's what goes on in the Crawford house when the doors close. Maya pocketed the USB drive. That's supposed to make me sympathetic. No, it's supposed to make you smart. Hurt people. But understanding the wound doesn't mean you have to let them infect you. He glanced at the Crawford table one more time. Be smarter than I was. Document everything. Trust no one. And whatever you do, don't let them get you alone. The warning came too late. October 31st arrived with unseasonable warmth. The kind of Indian summer day that made everyone restless and reckless. Maya had avoided the Halloween party invitations, planning to spend the night studying in her dorm room. Safe. Quiet. Alone. The text came at 8:43 p.m. Your mom's in the hospital, car accident. Come to the main office now. Maya ran, didn't think, didn't question, just ran. Her mother drove the night shift 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. at Chicago General. The timing was right. The fear was real. She burst through the empty hallways, sneakers squeaking on polished floors, heart-hammering prayers she hadn't said since her father's funeral. The main office was dark. That should have been her first warning. But panic had overridden logic. Fear had murdered caution. She fumbled for the light switch, calling out, "Hello, is anyone?" The door slammed shut behind her. They emerged from the shadows like nightmare figures, 5 shapes in Halloween masks. Not cheap plastic, but elaborate latex creations that turned them into monsters. A werewolf, a demon, a skull, a zombie, and leading them, a massive, rotting jack-o'-lantern head that did nothing to disguise Ethan Crawford's swagger. "Surprise!" his muffled voice sing-songed. "Guess your mama's just fine, but you won't be." Maya's hand went to her pocket, to her phone. But Tyler, recognizable by his height, even behind the zombie mask, held up her device. "Left it in your room when you ran out? Sloppy? Scholarship. Very sloppy." The circle tightened. Maya's mind calculated angles, distances, options, 5 against 1. Closed space, no witnesses. No help coming. "What do you want?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "What we always wanted. Ethan pulled something from behind his back. Obedience. The collar caught the fluorescent light, thick brown leather, the kind used for large dogs, aggressive dogs. The metal spikes glinted like teeth. You're insane. Maya backed against the door. Found it locked from outside. No, Marcus's voice from behind the demon mask. We're traditional. See, every dog needs training, and you've been a very bad girl. Halloween tradition, Tyler added, already filming with a handheld camera. Initiation night, usually. We wait until second semester. But you've been so difficult. Samuel told you. Didn't he? Ethan stepped closer. Bet he showed you his little scars. Made you feel all special, thinking you knew what was coming. Here's what Samuel didn't tell you. The werewolf mask tilted. He liked it. By the end, he was begging for it. The human mind's funny that way. Hurt someone long enough, and they start thinking they deserve it. You're sick. We're realistic. Ethan held up the collar. You can put this on yourself, nice and easy. Or we can put it on you. Your choice. Maya's father had taught her about choices, real ones and false ones, the illusion of control that predators offered their prey. Choose your battles, he'd said, but when the battle chooses you, don't hold back. Go to hell, Maya said clearly. Wrong answer. They rushed her simultaneously, coordinated like they'd done this before. Maya got one good hit in her elbow, connecting with somebody's solar plexus, earning a satisfying wheeze. But 5 sets of hands were too many, and soon they had her arms pinned, her legs immobilized. On your knees, Ethan commanded. Never. A knee to the back of her legs, it had dropped her down. The concrete bit through her jeans, sending shoots of pain up her thighs, hands tangled in her hair, forcing her head back. See? Ethan knelt to her level, jack-o'-lantern face grotesque up close. This is what you people never understand. There's a natural order. We're on top. You're on bottom. Fighting it just makes it worse. The collar touched her throat. Everything in Maya went still. Not the stillness of defeat, but the coiled quiet before a storm breaks. She could smell the leather, feel the cold metal against her pulse point, could hear Tyler's excited breathing behind his camera, the other's nervous laughter, could remember her father saying, "When they think they've won, that's when they're weakest." That's it, Ethan cooed as the collar circled her neck. Good girl, see how much easier. Maya moved. Part 2, breaking the collar. Maya's skull connected with Ethan's stomach like a battering ram. The pumpkin mask cracked against the floor as he doubled over, gasping. Her hands suddenly free as his grip loosened, found the collar still dangling from his fingers. In one fluid motion born from 3 years of self-defense classes her mother insisted on after Chicago, she wrapped the leather around his throat. How does it feel? Maya's voice was deadly calm as she pulled tight. Not enough to truly choke, but enough to make him understand. How does it feel to be collared like an animal? Marcus lunged at her, but Maya had already shifted, using Ethan as a shield. The leather belt at Ethan's waist came free with a sharp tug. She swung it like a whip, the metal buckle catching Marcus across the face. His demon mask split, revealing his shocked expression and a rapidly swelling cheek. You crazy? Tyler started forward, camera still rolling. Keep filming, Maya commanded, surprising everyone, including herself. Get every second. Evidence works both ways. The werewolf and skull masks hesitated. Without Ethan's leadership, Their pack mentality wavered. Maya kept the belt moving in controlled arcs, creating space, establishing dominance. Every lesson her father had taught her about crowd control came flooding back. "She's just one girl," Skullmask said, but his voice cracked with uncertainty. "One girl who's done playing victim." Maya's grip on Ethan's collar tightened as he clawed at her hands. "You wanted to see an animal congratulations. You created one." Ethan's face was turning red under the shattered pumpkin mask. His eyes, those pretty green eyes that had fooled so many, now showed real fear. Maya saw it and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just cold clarity. "Please," he wheezed. That word, that single word from someone who'd never had to beg for anything. Maya loosened her grip slightly. Let him suck in air. "Tyler," she said without looking away from Ethan. "Bring me that camera." "Hell no." Maya yanked the collar. Ethan made a sound like a dying cat. "Tyler, camera. Now." The zombie mask tilted toward his friend, then back to Maya. Slowly, he approached, holding the camera like a peace offering. Maya released Ethan with one hand, grabbed the device. "Unlock it," she ordered Tyler. "Show me what else is on here." "I can't." The belt cracked against the desk. Everyone jumped. "Wrong answer." Tyler's shaking fingers worked the screen. Maya saw folders, dozens of them. Names she recognized, dates going back 3 years. Her stomach turned, but her face stayed stone. "Samuel wasn't lying," she said quietly. "You've been doing this for years." "It's just fun," Werewolf Mask protested weakly. "Nobody got really hurt." "Define really hurt." Maya's voice could have frozen fire. "The girl who transferred after you spread those photos. The freshman who tried to kill himself last spring. Samuel with scars that spell out degrading words. Which part was fun?" She turned the camera to face them, still recording. "Take off the masks, all of you. Let's see how brave you are with your faces showing." "You can't make us," Marcus started. Maya tightened the collar around Ethan until he made choking sounds. "Can't I?" One by one. The masks came off. Marcus Chen with his swelling face and silver spoon sneer. Tyler Morrison, tall and lanky with nervous eyes. Jake Sullivan, she recognized him as the coach's son, built like his father, but with none of the confidence now. And Alex Hart, surprisingly, the quiet kid from her calculus class who she'd thought was different. "Alex," the betrayal stung more than it should have. "You too." He couldn't meet her eyes. They said I had to be part of what this?" Maya gestured at the scene. "5 boys attacking 1 girl, real brotherhood you got there." "Let Ethan go," Marcus tried to sound authoritative. "You've made your point." "Have I?" Maya laughed, harsh and bitter. "Because from where I'm kneeling where you put me, I don't think the point's quite clear yet." She stood slowly, maintaining her grip on Ethan, forcing him to stay on his knees. The reversal wasn't lost on anyone. "Here's what's going to happen," Maya announced. "This video, all those files, they're going to the police, the real police, not your daddy's golf buddies. FBI handles cybercrimes. Did you know that? Especially when minors are involved." "You can't. Our parents," Jake stammered. "Your parents failed you." Maya's voice cut through his protest. "Just like the school failed every kid you've hurt. But failure stops tonight." Ethan suddenly twisted, trying to break free. Maya let him, stepping back as he scrambled to his feet, ripping off the collar. His face was purple with rage and oxygen deprivation. "You're done!" he snarled. "My father will destroy you. Your scholarship, your future, your ghetto trash mother." The belt moved like lightning. The buckle caught him across the mouth, splitting his lip. Blood spotted his perfect teeth. "Say one more word about my mother," Maya said quietly. "And what happens next will make your daddy's beatings look like love taps." Ethan's hand went to his mouth, came away bloody. For a moment, his mask slipped completely. Not the pumpkin one, the one he wore every day. The golden boy, the untouchable prince. For just a second, Maya saw him clearly, a scared, angry child who'd learned violence as a first language and never been taught any other way to speak. "My dad's gonna kill me," he whispered. And it wasn't a threat. It was terror. "Then maybe," Maya said, "it's time you stopped becoming him." The door burst open. Grace Chen stood there with campus security, her phone in hand, face flushed from running. Behind her, Coach Sullivan loomed, his expression cycling between shock and shame as he took in the scene. "Nobody move," the security guard ordered, hand on his radio. Maya set down the belt, raised her hands slowly. "It's all on camera," she said. "Everything they did. Everything they've been doing." "She attacked us," Tyler protested, "after you lured her here under false pretenses and assaulted her." Grace's voice was steel. "I heard enough through the door before security arrived." "You called them?" Maya asked. "Samuel Park called me," Grace admitted. "Said you might need help tonight. Said they always pick Halloween." Her eyes swept over the boys. "I've been documenting incidents for 2 years, building a case, waiting for someone brave enough to stand up." "Grace," Coach Sullivan warned, "think about what you're doing." "I am thinking, for the first time in years." She looked at him with disgust. "How many kids? Jim, how many victims did you tell to toughen up? How many complaints did you bury? They're just boys." "No," Maya interrupted. "That excuse dies tonight. They're old enough to know torture is wrong, old enough to face consequences." The security guard had called for backup. Real police, not campus security. As sirens wailed in the distance, the boys' bravado crumbled entirely. Jake started crying. Alex threw up in a wastebasket. Tyler tried to delete the camera's contents until Grace physically took it from him. Only Marcus maintained any composure, his lawyer father's training showing. "We want attorneys. We're minors. You can't question us without." "Actually," a new voice said from the doorway, "in cases involving assault and potential hate crimes, we can detain you until your parents arrive." The officer who entered wasn't local police. FBI. Her badge announced, Special Agent Martinez, Cybercrimes Division. "We've been monitoring certain dark websites where videos like these get traded," she explained. "Mr. Park's evidence helped us connect local incidents to a larger ring. You boys might have thought you were just having fun, but your collections have been feeding something much darker." Now even Marcus looked scared. As the FBI agent began reading rights and procedures, Maya felt the adrenaline crash coming. Her knees wobbled. Grace appeared at her elbow, steady and supporting. "You did it," the counselor whispered. "You broke the cycle." "Did I?" Maya watched Ethan being handcuffed, his split lip still bleeding. "Or did I just prove I can be as violent as them?" There's a difference between violence and self-defense, between cruelty and consequences. Grace squeezed her shoulder. "You gave them a choice. That's more than they ever gave their victims. The next hours blurred together, the police station's fluorescent lights, her mother arriving in scrubs, having left her shift the moment she got the call. The detective, a black woman with kind eyes and careful questions, who documented every bruise and recorded every detail. "You're incredibly brave," Detective Williams said as Maya finished her statement. "I'm tired," Maya corrected. "Tired of being afraid, tired of staying quiet. Just tired." Her mother held her as she finally cried, not tears of fear or pain, but release. 3 years of held breath leaving her body in shaking sobs. By morning, the story had exploded beyond Oakwood Prep's ivory towers. Tyler's camera, in supreme irony, had live-streamed to his cloud storage. Someone theories varied between a hacker collective and a rogue FBI tech leaked selective portions. The sight of 5 masked boys terrorizing a lone black girl, followed by her spectacular self-defense, went viral within hours. But the real bombshell was the archive. 3 years of systematic abuse, carefully catalogued. Photos, videos, messages, all proving a pattern of harassment that targeted scholarship students, minorities, anyone who didn't fit Oakwood's alabaster mold. More victims came forward. 8, then 12, then 20. Samuel Park flew back from California to testify. A girl named Patricia Kim rolled up her sleeves on national television, showing scars that matched Samuel's. Parents who'd been paid for silence started talking. Ethan's father arrived at the police station in a rage that could be heard 3 floors away. Maya watched through a window as Richard Crawford, titan of industry and king of his domain, discovered his currency was worthless here. Money couldn't delete federal evidence. Connections couldn't erase video proof. Threats only added charges. When he saw Maya watching, his face contorted with such hatred she stepped back instinctively. But then she saw Ethan behind him, and the boy flinched from his father's raised hand even in the police station. The cycle on full display. "Your father hits you." Maya said it to the one-way glass, knowing the FBI agent was recording on the other side. "Probably has for years. Makes you feel weak, so you make others feel weaker." Classic transfer of trauma. "Don't." Ethan's voice was hollow. "Don't pretend you understand. I understand plenty. My father died protecting strangers. Yours lives hurting his own son. We both learned violence young. Difference is, I learned to protect. You learned to pray. He'll destroy you for this." "He can try." Maya turned from the window. "But I've already survived the worst thing. Everything else is just noise." The legal proceedings took months. Oakwood Prep closed for a week as investigators combed through records. When it reopened, half the board had resigned. Coach Sullivan was gone, and Grace Chen had been promoted to Dean of Students with a mandate for reform. The boys faced various consequences. Tyler and Jake got probation and mandatory counseling. Marcus, whose father's hard drives revealed his own collection of disturbing content, faced federal charges. Alex Hart wrote a public letter of apology that seemed genuine, started speaking at schools about mob mentality and the courage to say no. And Ethan Crawford got 3 years in juvenile detention, not just for the assault on Maya, but for the pattern of abuse stretching back years. At his sentencing, he looked smaller than Maya remembered, just a boy in an expensive suit, dwarfed by the weight of his choices. His father wasn't there. Richard Crawford had his own problems. Turns out the FBI's investigation into the dark websites had uncovered connections to his business dealings. The mighty Crawford empire crumbled within weeks. Maya testified at every hearing, steady and clear. She didn't minimize what they'd done, but she didn't exaggerate either. Just truth, plain and simple, powerful in its honesty. They tried to collar me, she said at Ethan's sentencing, because they'd been collared first, by expectations, by toxic masculinity, by a culture that confuses dominance with strength. But real strength isn't about making others kneel. It's about helping them stand. After the hearings, Maya had a choice. She could stay at Oakwood, continue her education at the scene of her trauma, or she could transfer, start fresh somewhere without the weight of that night. She stayed, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. Other scholarship kids needed to see it was possible. Other victims needed to know they weren't alone. Other bullies needed to understand that consequences existed. She started a program with Grace Chen monthly assemblies where survivors shared stories, where reformed bullies spoke about change, where everyone learned the difference between strength and cruelty. She called it Break the Collar, and within a year, dozens of schools had adopted versions of it. Samuel Park visited during spring break. They sat in the same cafeteria where he'd warned her. But everything felt different now. Lighter. Safer. "You did what I couldn't," he said. "You did exactly what you needed to survive." Maya corrected. "Courage isn't one size fits all. You speaking up, even after they broke you, that's what started this. Your USB drive saved kids you'll never meet." "I heard Ethan's getting therapy, real therapy, not just detention." Maya nodded. "Wrote me a letter last month, accountability letter. His therapist called it, taking responsibility without asking for forgiveness." "Did it help?" "Helped him, maybe. Jury's still out on whether it helped me." She traced the faint scar on her neck where the collar had cut deepest. "Some wounds heal, others just teach you to be careful." On the anniversary of that Halloween night, Maya stood before a packed auditorium. Not just Oakwood students, but kids from schools across the state. Her mother sat in the front row, proud and protective. Grace Chen introduced her, voice thick with emotion. "The easy thing," Maya began, "would be to paint this as a simple story. Good versus evil. Hero versus villains. But real life is messier than that. The boys who attacked me weren't monsters. They were products of a system that taught them cruelty was currency, and kindness was weakness." She clicked to a slide showing statistics. 1 in 5 students experiences bullying. 1 in 10 attempts suicide because of it. Zero-tolerance policies don't work because they treat symptoms, not causes. Punishment without understanding just creates sneakier predators. "So what does work?" She clicked again. Connection. Accountability with compassion. Teaching kids not just to stand up to bullies, but to recognize the bully in themselves. Because we all have that capacity. Every single one of us can choose to collar someone else or help them break free. A hand raised in the audience. A young boy, maybe 14, voice shaking. What if you're too scared to fight back? What if you're not brave like you?" Maya's smile was gentle. "You think I wasn't scared? I was terrified. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. And fighting back doesn't always mean throwing punches. Sometimes it's telling someone. Sometimes it's recording evidence. Sometimes it's just surviving another day." "Your voice," she continued. However it sounds, however it shakes, is valid. Your story matters, and you don't have to face it alone. After the assembly, the boy approached her. Up close, she could see the familiar signs: hunched shoulders, darting eyes, the invisible weight of daily torment. "They make me eat lunch in the bathroom," he whispered. "Say I smell. Say I'm gross. I haven't told anyone." "You just did," Maya said gently. "That's the first step. What's your name?" "David." "David, you're brave. Braver than you know. Let's talk to Miss Chen together. Okay, she's really good at making things better." As she watched Grace lead David to her office, Maya felt the weight of responsibility. Breaking her own collar had been one thing. Helping others break theirs was a lifetime commitment. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. For a moment, the old fear spiked. Then she read it. "Miss Thompson, I'm a sophomore at Lincoln High. Your assembly last month saved my life. I had a plan, but you said surviving another day was courage too. So I survived. Then another day, then a week. Thank you for showing me that collars can be broken, that cycles can end, that people like me matter too." Maya wiped her eyes, typed back, "You matter. You've always mattered. Keep surviving, keep fighting. And remember, your story isn't over. It's just a beginning." As the sun set over Oakwood Prep, Maya Thompson walked the halls that had once been her hunting ground, where masked boys had tried to break her, where she'd discovered that sometimes the only way to break a collar is to show others what freedom looks like. She thought of Ethan in his therapy sessions, learning to speak without violence, of Samuel, studying law to help victims navigate systems that failed them, of all the Davids out there, eating lunch in bathrooms, waiting for someone to see them. The work wasn't finished. It never would be. But every broken collar made the next one easier to break. Every voice raised made silence harder to enforce. Every hand extended pulled someone else from their knees. Maya touched the scar on her neck one more time. Not a mark of shame, but a reminder. They'd tried to collar her, to reduce her to an animal, to make her feel less than human. Instead, they'd awakened something more than human, the unbreakable spirit of someone who refuses to let others kneel. The collar was gone. But the strength it had revealed, that was forever. As she headed home to her mother, to their small apartment filled with love and pictures of her father, Maya smiled. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new Ethans, new collars, new battles to fight. But tonight, she was just a girl who'd refused to kneel. And sometimes, that's how revolutions begin, one collar breaking at a time.